Hi, we're Miri and Lottie. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. So today we thought we'd go through our questions that you've sent in for us. So we've got lots of questions. So we've picked out the top ones that we received and the ones we thought you'd be most interested in hearing the answers to. And we're going to run through some of them with you today. So the first question we received was, I don't eat meat. Where can I get vitamin B12 from?
Good question.
Yes, it's a very good question. And so why do we need B12? So the reasons we need B12 are because of it actually makes our red blood cells. So if you're low in B12, then you're not making enough red blood cells, and you can often suffer from anemia as a consequence.
You feel tired.
So you feel tired, you might feel cold. Main sources of B12 in one's diet would be meat, fish, eggs and dairy products. However, if you're vegetarian, you might not eat these things. So actually B12 doesn't occur naturally in any vegetarian or any plant-based foods. So what a lot of companies have now done is actually they've added it into their products. So for example, like almond milk or soya milk, some of the brands actually have this added into their milk. And also, for example, some of the cereals might have it added in as well, so they're called fortified cereals or milk, so they can be a good source. So if you're vegetarian, we'd recommend having some of the fortified products every single day, so it would need to be either the fortified milk or the fortified cereals. However, if you're not able to do this, then it would be worth considering a multivitamin and mineral, just to make sure that you are getting enough vitamin B12.
Next question is, when has healthy eating gone too far in your opinion? Well, in my opinion, and I think many dietitians will agree with this, healthy eating's gone too far if you can't say yes to that slice of birthday cake, or if you've gone round to your friend's house for a cup of tea and you can't have a biscuit because you feel too guilty. There's a lot of kind of clean eating out there at the moment, and we as dietitians don't really like that phrase because it implies that some foods are dirty, whereas in actual fact all foods are good in their own way. And personally I think, yeah, healthy eating's gone too far if you can't say yes to like a slice of cake or a biscuit with your friend.
So the next question we had was, should I cut out carbohydrates to lose weight? So that's a great question. Thanks for sending this one in. Something we hear quite a lot. And so the answer to this is, if you cut out carbohydrate, you will find that you will lose weight. And the reason for this is because of it's your body's go-to source for fuel. So the immediate thing your body will use for energy is going to be your carbohydrate stores in your body. So if you don't have much of these stored, then your body will then burn fat. So if you want to lose weight in the short term, then yes, it would help to do this. However, we find that generally in the long term, it's not very sustainable to stick to a low carbohydrate diet. So it might be something to look at in more moderation, and maybe look at more of your carbohydrate portion sizes. And the other thing we were going to mention is a little bit about the glycemic index. So the rate at which your body actually digests the carbohydrates and the way they're then used.
So the next question is, what changes should you make to your diet if you've just been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes? So there are some really great resources online. Diabetes UK will post some links below to those. But essentially you need to be looking at your carbohydrates in the diet and the portions of those carbohydrates. So we can show you what a portion of pasta is and what a portion of rice looks like. So Miri's about to show us what a portion of pasta and rice look like. So we've cooked the pasta and we've cooked the rice, and one portion would be 3 heaped tablespoons of each. So there is the pasta.
And next we're going to do the rice. So again, it's going to be 3 heaped tablespoons of this, like so.
So Miri has got a portion of boiled potatoes in her hand. So it's 2 egg size potatoes. So there we've got the egg and the potatoes. But that's actually what the guidelines say one portion of potatoes is. So Miri's about to show us what a portion of cereal looks like, which is heaped tablespoons, 3 of them. And then
So it doesn't look like a lot, but once you start adding in your fruits,
we just had to cut because all the blueberries went on the floor.
So you've got your blueberries in there, you've got your cereal. Once you add your milk or your yogurt on, then it should make it a nice filling breakfast.
So just come back from showing you what a portion of cereal and potato actually looks like.
So the next question we got was, what do you think of the 5-2 diet? So this is a diet which uses intermittent fasting. So on 5 days of the week you would follow a 2,000 calorie daily intake, and then on 2 days of the week you would go down to 500 calories a day. The diet works on a calorie restriction. I know a lot of people that have used this diet and found it's worked really well for them. Some people that particularly find this works well is if they're used to fasting for various reasons, then actually this really suits them and it can work really well. And what we always say to people that is, if you find a diet that works for you, then stick to that, because that is the best way of losing weight. So it might be worth actually on the days when you're restricting down to 500 calories to consider taking a multivitamin, just to cover yourself for all of those things that you wouldn't be able to get within those 500 calories.
So the next question is, are smoothies good for you? Well, yes and no. It depends what you put in the smoothie, believe it or not. So you've got to remember with smoothies, you are essentially liquidising whatever food you're putting into the blender. And when you liquidise food, you're actually taking away that stage of digestion. So it's a lot easier for your body to digest smoothies. So it's particularly, if you're putting lots of fruit into smoothies, you're actually liquidising the fruit and turning it into kind of liquid sugar. So it will kind of peak your blood sugars a bit more quickly than if you were to eat the fruits not blended. We'll post some information below about glycemic index, I think we mentioned it earlier. So yeah, I mean, smoothies can be good for you. I would just say limit the amount of fruit that you're putting into the smoothie and just try and lower the glycemic index so that the blood sugars peak a bit more slowly by adding in things like yogurt, oats, even vegetables. If quite a few vegetables go well in smoothies and can be disguised and you can't really taste them. All those things you put in that have a lower GI or glycemic index than fruit will help lower the overall GI of the smoothie. I think if you really struggle to get your fruit and vegetables in throughout the day, and you find having a smoothie a lot easier, then we would definitely say to have a smoothie. I just don't think it would be the go-to choice of getting your 5 a day. Just kind of watch what you put in them and just kind of restrict the fruit.
So our next question was, should I skip breakfast to save on calories?
Ooh.
I find it's the easiest meal to skip, and a lot of people do find this. Breakfast is often quite easy to skip. If you're someone who's not used to eating it, then you may find that you don't feel hungry in the morning, or some people actually find they feel quite nauseous. The thought of actually eating just turns their stomach, so actually a lot of people do skip breakfast in the morning. But generally we find that skipping breakfast then leads you to overeat later on in the day. So anything that you can get in the morning is a good option. So whether or not that might be something like a little bowl of porridge, or it could be like a slice of toast with some butter and jam on it, or it could be, for example, a piece of fruit, or even something like we were mentioning earlier, a smoothie maybe with some milk or some yogurt in it, or some oats in it, then that might be a good option. Actually, overall through the day, we generally find people eat less, so it's better for your weight to have something at breakfast time. And also, it's also a good source of people's vitamins. So earlier we spoke about B12, and actually a lot of cereals have good sources of B12 and lots of other minerals and vitamins in them. So for example, iron is a big source of iron in most people's diets, actually from cereals that they eat in the morning. So if you skip out that meal, you're often missing out on a lot of your vitamins and minerals.
Our next video we think will be on breakfasts. So if you're one of those people that skip breakfast but you want to learn more about how to have a healthy breakfast, or what is a healthy breakfast, then our next video will be on different breakfasts.
Yeah.
So the next, this is actually the last question. Which drink would you choose on a night out if you're watching the calories? So if I was watching the calories and I was going on a night out, The alcoholic drink I would choose would probably be a clear spirit and a diet mixer. So for example, rum and diet coke, or a gin and slimline tonic. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's probably what I would go for. Or another option would be something like a white wine. If you're going to choose a wine, ideally going for a dry one rather than a sweet one, because it's lower in calories and lower in sugar. And even a wine spritzer would be an even better option, because if you mix that with something like soda water, it's going to be much lower in calories and it tastes very nice as well.
Or diet lemonade.
Or diet lemonade.
So that's the end of our question and answer video, so thank you to everyone who sent us questions. We will post some links below to things we mentioned, and like we said, our next video will be on breakfast. So thank you for watching.